Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you've ever dreamt of having a wall or trellis draped in spectacular star-shaped flowers, then you've come to the right place. Today we're diving deep into the world of Clematis, the undisputed queen of climbing vines. They might look delicate and demanding, but I promise with just a few key tips, you can have these beauties thriving in your own garden. So grab your gardening gloves and let's get started. First things first. Let's talk about choosing the right clematis for your space. It's easy to get overwhelmed by the sheer variety out there. There are hundreds of species and thousands of cultivars. They come in all sorts of colors, from deep purples and vibrant pinks to pristine whites and sunny yellows. But the most important thing to consider isn't just the color. It's the pruning group. This sounds technical, but it's super simple and will save you a lot of guesswork later. Clematis are divided into three main pruning groups: Group 1, Group 2, and Group 3. Group 1 clematis bloom the earliest, typically in spring, on growth from the previous year. Think of varieties like Clematis montana or alpina. The great thing about this group is they require very little pruning. You just tidy them up right after they finish flowering to remove any dead or tangled stems, and that's it. Easy peasy. Next up is Group 2. These are often the large flowered hybrids that give you 2 shows a year, a big flush of flowers in late spring or early summer on old wood, and then a smaller second flush in late summer on new growth. To prune these, you'll do a light trim after that first wave of flowers to encourage the second bloom. Then, in late winter or early spring, you'll go through and cut out any weak or dead stems, and trim the remaining stems back to a pair of strong, healthy buds. This keeps the plant vigorous without sacrificing those early blooms. Finally, we have Group 3. These are the late flowering powerhouses that bloom from midsummer all the way through to fall, on the current year's growth. This group includes popular varieties like Jack Mani and the sweet-smelling sweet autumn clematis. Pruning for this group is the most straightforward of all. In late winter or early spring, you cut the entire plant back hard, down to about 12 inches from the ground, just above a set of healthy buds. It feels drastic, I know, but this encourages a whole new flush of strong, flower-producing vines each year. So, when you're at the nursery, check the plant tag for the pruning group. It's your roadmap to success. Now that you've picked your perfect clematis, let's talk about planting. This is probably the single most important step for long-term success. Clematis have a famous saying associated with them: feet in the shade, head in the sun. This means their roots need to be kept cool and moist, while the top of the plant, the vines and leaves, wants to bask in at least 6 hours of sunshine each day. So, when you're choosing your spot, look for a location that gets plenty of sun, but where you can protect the base of the plant. You can do this by planting some shallow-rooted perennials or ground covers around the base, or even by placing a few large, flat stones over the root zone. When you're ready to plant, dig a hole that's nice and wide, at least twice the width of the pot, and just as deep. You want to give those roots plenty of room to spread out. Amend the soil you dug out with some good quality compost or well-rotted manure. Clematis are heavy feeders and they love rich, well-draining soil. This is not the time to skimp on the good stuff. Before you place the plant in the hole, gently tease out the roots if they're circling the pot. Now, here's a pro tip. Plant your clematis about 3 to 5 inches deeper than it was in its nursery pot. You want the crown of the plant where the stem meets the roots to be buried. This encourages the plant to produce multiple stems from below the soil level, making it much more resilient. If one stem gets damaged, you'll have others ready to take its place. Backfill the hole with your amended soil, firming it gently around the root ball. And finally, give it a really deep, thorough watering. Water is crucial, especially in that first year as the plant gets established. Okay, your clematis is in the ground. Now what? Let's talk about ongoing care. First up, watering. As I mentioned, clematis like consistently moist soil, but not waterlogged. A deep watering once or twice a week is usually much better than a light sprinkle every day. A good layer of mulch-like shredded bark or compost around the base will do wonders for retaining moisture and keeping those roots cool. Just be sure to leave a little space right around the stems to prevent any rot. Next is feeding. Remember how I said they're heavy feeders? To get those spectacular blooms, you need to provide the fuel. A good balanced low-nitrogen fertilizer in the spring is a great way to wake them up. Something formulated for roses or tomatoes works really well. You can feed them every 4 to 6 weeks throughout the growing season, but be sure to stop fertilizing in late summer to allow the plant to prepare for winter dormancy. Now, let's discuss support. Clematis are climbers, but they don't have suction cups like ivy or strong twining stems like wisteria. They climb by wrapping their delicate leaf stalks called petioles around things. This means they need something relatively thin to grab onto, about the diameter of a pencil or smaller. A wire trellis, netting, or even fishing line strung up a wall works perfectly. If you have a chunky wooden trellis or a thick arbor post, you'll need to add some thinner support for the clematis to actually grip. As the vine grows, you'll need to gently guide it and tie it into the support. Don't be afraid to weave the stems through the trellis to encourage them to spread out and cover the area. This helps with air circulation and ensures sunlight reaches all parts of the plant, leading to more flowers from top to bottom. Let's quickly touch on a common problem: clematis wilt. It can be heartbreaking. One day your plant looks fantastic, and the next, a whole stem has collapsed. Wilt is a fungal disease, and while it's alarming, it's not usually a death sentence, especially if you planted your clematis deep. The fungus typically affects the stem above ground. The best course of action is to immediately prune out the affected stem all the way back to healthy, green tissue, or even to the ground. Disinfect your pruners afterward and dispose of the infected stem. Because you planted it deep, the plant can often send up new, healthy shoots from the base. Another pest you might encounter are aphids. They tend to cluster on new, soft growth. A strong spray of water from the hose is often enough to dislodge them. For more persistent infestations, a little insecticidal soap will do the trick. But honestly, a healthy, well-cared-for plant is its own best defense against pests and diseases. So, let's recap the key points. Choose your clematis based on its pruning group to make maintenance a breeze. Plant it in a spot with its head in the sun and its feet in the shade. Plant it deep to protect the crown. Give it something thin to climb on and help guide it along. Water deeply and consistently, feed it regularly during the growing season, and prune it according to its group. It might sound like a lot, but once you get into the rhythm, it becomes second nature. The reward is absolutely breathtaking. There's nothing quite like walking into your garden and being greeted by a cascade of vibrant, elegant blooms. They bring so much life and vertical interest to any space, big or small. I hope this guide has demystified the process of growing clematis and inspired you to give them a try. They truly are one of the most rewarding plants you can grow. If you have any questions or want to share your own clematis success stories, please drop a comment below. I love hearing from you all. Thank you so much for watching today. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more gardening guides and tips. Happy gardening, and we'll see you in the next video.